From Andrew Garfield potentially becoming the next American James Bond to Henry Cavill being the picture-perfect hunk for the role, here are just some of the actors that could be the new James Bond. Starting with the one and only Idris Elba. Now, Elba's name came up for the role long before Craig's last appearance as 007 in 2021's No Time to Die, when Sony Pictures executive Amy Pascal said in a leaked email from 2014 that Idris should be the next Bond. I mean, can you blame her? Idris is one heck of a hunk, but sadly, the actor recently ended all rumors about him being the next 007. The 50-year-old Golden Globe winner announced that he was honestly nowhere near being cast as James Bond, even after Daniel Craig had left the series. And according to People magazine, the actor revealed that even though he has a pretty close relationship with the franchise's creators, they haven't discussed the possibility of him playing one of cinema's most recognizable characters. Oh man, and here I thought we'd finally get to see him in action. He also recently spoke with The Guardian about the rumors that he might take on the coveted role, and said that he really loves the Bond franchise, and that he's pretty close to the producers too. But when all of them heard about the rumors, they burst out laughing, and at the end of the day, they'll really just be rumors, with no truth to back them up. But considering the fact that the new James Bond still hasn't been announced, there's still a chance that Elba could be cast in the role, and then just say, surprise. But Idris isn't the only one around with the chops for the role. This next actor might seem like a bit of a curveball, but he has the skills to be the next Bond. I'm talking about the one and only Andrew Garfield. Hey, before you come for me, just hear me out. The former Peter Parker has everything from spy cred to the gorgeous looks and the tailoring flair that a secret run for Bond can definitely make. His performances in Angels in America in London and on Broadway solidified him as a proper actor and a really likable screen presence. And honestly, that's the kind of combination that's pretty uncommon to find in someone who's roughly the right age to play Bond. I mean, it's like the universe is giving us clear-cut signs that he should be the next James Bond. Also, considering the fact that he probably has spent enough time doing his own thing away from the Spidey franchise, it would probably be the best time to think about joining another giant franchise. On top of that, his transatlanticism would make him a great Bond ambassador across the pond. Now, even though Garfield could be mistaken for any boy you'd meet at an all-bar one in Guilford, he was actually born in Los Angeles. And you gotta agree that the excitement over the first American Bond would be an amazing angle that the movie could take. As an added bonus, he'd be the first Jewish Bond. Like I said, the universe is literally shoving the idea of Garfield as Bond right in our faces. But then again, he's approaching 40. So if it's going to happen, it has to happen right now. Or the role could go to this next actor who seems like the perfect choice for James Bond as a whole. It's none other than Nicholas Hoult. Consider this, he's 32 and has proven his action chops in Mad Max Fury Road by spraying chrome paint on his teeth. He's been prominently featured in both The Favorite and True History of the Kelly Gang, two highly critically acclaimed indie films. I mean, yeah, he has a very different physical profile than Daniel Craig. He's stringy and slightly elfin instead of butch and bulky. But that might just be a pull for the Bond suits, who are probably eager to make a distinction between the post-born Bond years and whatever the next Bond era turns into. What's more is that if he's cast as Bond, Nicholas Hoult would end up being the youngest actor and the first former child star to take up the role. Despite his early success as a child actor in the Hugh Grant picture about a boy, he's a seasoned pro in the industry. Considering that Hoult's persona pretty much offers a Bond reinvention that's more elegant than aggressive, the real question is whether his version will be more sophisticated than shaken and stirred. Honestly, adding Hoult to the cast would be surprising to say the least, but it might be necessary for a franchise that has been running for 50 years to keep things exciting. Speaking of exciting things, if this heartthrob is cast as the new Bond, the theaters are going to have a field day with the screenings. That's right, I'm referring to none other than the Bridgerton star star Regé-Jean Page. When it was revealed at the beginning of April 2021 that British actor Regé-Jean Page would not be returning to Bridgerton, social media definitely wasn't happy. As the Duke of Hastings, Page inspired a ton of lustful Instagram pages and a lot of gushing articles, which helped the period drama become Netflix's most popular show ever. And at that moment, everyone was thinking about one thing and one thing only: Bond. The rumors and ideas about him being shortlisted as the next Bond got so out of hand that he was forced to address them. According to the Mirror, he said, "Ah, the B word. When a British person does something noteworthy and is noticed by others, rumors are bound to spread." He ain't wrong about that, now is he? Regarding the role of Bond, he said that he hasn't made any future plans about what projects he might take on. This is such a carefully calculated, non-committal statement that will only fan the flames of speculation. But my man Regé-Jean Page is aware that a genuine 007 contender can't look to be too desperate for the role of James Bond. You gotta play it as cool as possible. As the Bond series moves away from Daniel Craig's grizzled veteran, at 34 years of age, Page is a prime candidate to be featured in a young Bond reboot. And in case you hadn't noticed, he's also ridiculously handsome. Though, I think compared to every actor I've talked about so far, there's a pretty chance the next Bond will be Henry Cavill. For over a decade, rumors have circulated that Henry Cavill would be the next James Bond. In fact, Casino Royale director Martin Campbell originally wanted Cavill to replace Pierce Brosnan, but the poor actor lost out to Daniel Craig because he was just so young. What's worse is that he passed up an opportunity to appear in 300 in hopes that he'd get the Bond role. Dang, must have been a huge blow when he didn't get it. Even though he's old enough now, his witless contribution to the conversation about how #MeToo impacted dating a few years ago might prevent him. And the thing is, when Bond prospects are asked about being Bond, they're supposed to have a winking, chase me, coyness to them. I guess Henry here didn't get the memo. Back in 2018, he said that he would love the opportunity, and if they were to ask, he would say yes. Way to be subtle about it, Cavill. That said, his chances of becoming the next Bond are significantly low when compared to this next actor. Aaron Taylor Johnson is thought to be the most likely candidate to take over the Bond role after Craig. It's kinda surprising that he wasn't a serious contender for the role before, considering his track record as an actor. He's been the go-to action man in films like Avengers: Age of Ultron, Godzilla, and Tenet. And he's also demonstrated thespian range in films like Anna Karenina, A Million Little Pieces, as well as Nowhere Boy, where he played a young John Lennon. Another thing that kinda adds to the surety that he'll be the next Bond is the fact that he recently took a private screen test with the producers, including Barbara Broccoli at Pinewood Studios, and reportedly nailed it. According to The Sun, Aaron went for a screen test to be the next Bond in September, and producers and Barbara adored him. Things do be looking good for the actor if I say so. Plus, at 32 years of age, he's consistent with the current requirements for the role of 007. But Aaron has chosen to stay tight-lipped about it till now. Well, those were all the actors that could potentially become the new James Bond.